If you're looking to buy a new graphics card, maybe for your new PC build or maybe to upgrade on your system, you came to the right place. Now prices are changing every day, so if any of these graphics cards is cheaper or more expensive when you're watching this video, I'm sorry, but this is the market nowadays. But trust me, I know the pain of not knowing what GPU to pick, especially at this time where new GPUs are coming, where you should wait if you have a high-end budget. Don't worry about it, I will talk about graphics card on a budget for a mid-range level, and I will give you some bonus ones, and I will explain if you're in a situation where you have a high-end budget as well. You will have all the links of these graphics cards down below in the description, but on top of that we will have a bunch of gaming PCs that I do recommend you buying, and on the top right of the screen you will have my playlist about PC builds in case you need guidance on which components you should pick for your whole computer. With that being said, let's start. With the first one, we have a shocking one actually. It's the 1660 Super from EVGA. This one is $210. It's worth to mention that every GPU on this video is going to be brand new. If you have a lower budget than this, I do recommend you searching on the used market. Actually, I have a bunch of videos about PC build with used parts, especially on a really tight budget, but on this video it's going to be about brand new GPUs. The GTX 1660 Super is still a really solid graphics card at 1080p. You get 6 gigs of VRAM, which is the minimum for upcoming games, and actually the price is not terrible. I do recommend you buying the next one on the list for a bit more, but if you cannot go any farther than $210, I think the GTX 1660 Super is actually a really solid choice. There's no game that you cannot run at 1080p 60 FPS on average, and if you're playing games like Valorant, CSGO and all of these games, if you pair it with the right CPU, you will be able to achieve 240 FPS on average, or even more depending on the settings and the game that you're going to play. Now with the next one, for $242, we have the RTX 2060, which is a bit better than the 1660 Super. It's not going to be a crazy difference, but here you have new technologies like ray tracing, DLSS. Even though ray tracing it's obviously not going to be the best one, but on top of this you get 2 extra gigs of VRAM. You get 8 gigs total, which is the standard for gaming nowadays. So I really think that this graphics card, for the price that you pay, it's good for Nvidia. Now do not buy the RTX 3050, that one is around $40 more expensive and it's actually worse than this one, so please do not buy the 3050. If you're going for Nvidia instead of AMD, because maybe you don't like AMD for some reason, then go with the 2060 at this price point. With the next one, we have one that I do recommend you buying if you're waiting for the new upcoming GPUs and you have a high-end budget. I do recommend you going for the RX 6600. This one is $250, so really similar in price to the RTX 2060, and it's going to perform better for gaming. Yes, you don't get ray tracing and DLSS. The performance for gaming it's going to be better, and the price it's really similar, around $10 more expensive. So if you don't mind about going for Nvidia or AMD, I do strongly recommend you this GPU if you're either working on a tight budget or if you want a gaming PC right now, but you will buy new upcoming GPUs later on this year. So let's say you have $2,000, you don't want to buy a GPU right now, which is what I recommend you not to do, but you also want to have some gaming experience because you don't want to wait to start playing, then the RX 6600 is the way to go in my opinion. Now, if you want to see how it's going to perform on your favorite game, I do recommend you searching for benchmarks on this GPU with the CPU that you have or that you're going to buy. For instance, let's say you're going to buy the Ryzen 5 5600, then I recommend you searching on YouTube Ryzen 5 5600 RX 6600 combination benchmarks on your favorite game, and you will see all of the settings on that game for you to see the exact performance. This is something that I do recommend you doing with every single GPU and CPU before buying them. Now, there's a bonus GPU that I'm not going to put on the list, but it's worth mentioning, and that is the RTX 2060 Super, coming in at $305. If you were thinking of buying the RTX 3060, which is in my opinion totally overpriced at this point, I do recommend you going with the MSI RTX 2060 Super. You end up saving money, and trust me, the performance is going to be the same. The only difference is that the 3060 comes with 12 gigs of VRAM and this one comes with 8, but trust me, for gaming you won't notice a single difference between these two. Actually, I've had a 2060 Super my whole life, it's been great. It performs on every single game without any issue. If you were thinking of going with the 3060 and you don't want to go for AMD, go with this 2060 Super. With the next one, we have a 1440p capable GPU. We have the RX 6650 XT for $277. It's going to be better than the 2060 Super and it's going to be cheaper. So if you don't mind about Nvidia or AMD, this one is a great performer for the price, and it's actually the same price as the RTX 3050, which is insane considering that you get way better performance with the 6650 XT. Don't get me wrong, the 3050 is great for 1080p, but the price it's totally terrible. So the 6650 XT has the same price and you're going to get a 1440p performance without any issues, 60 FPS plus on average on basically every single game. Of course, it depends on the settings, but this is a really good GPU if you want to start gaming at 1440p on a budget. I think that you can't go wrong with the 6650 XT. Now, if you're looking for the best mid-range PC build and you want the best mid-range GPU, this is my number one on the list. The 6700 XT from AMD is around $430 and it's going to perform much better than the 6650 XT, especially at 1440p. So if you're not on a tight budget and you want to play at 1440p, I think that the RX 6700 XT is going to be your best choice. It's a 12 gigs of VRAM GPU and it's going to perform really similar to the RTX 3060 Ti, and considering that the RTX 3060 Ti it's around $50 more expensive, I think that this one is the way to go if you want to go for a 1440p gaming PC. Now, if you want to go for the 3060 Ti, go for it. I don't mind. You get those features that I mentioned from Nvidia that might be important to you if you want to do content creation, where Nvidia GPUs have better encoder for that. If you're doing content creation, then yes, go ahead and pick the RTX 3060 Ti for the extra money. But if you're just looking for gaming performance, I think that the RX 6700 XT is really interesting considering that it's cheaper and has the same performance. Those are the ones that I do recommend you buying, and if you're waiting for the next GPUs coming, then buy a budget one like the RX 6600 like I mentioned before. And if you want to buy a PC right now, you don't want to wait 3 or 4 extra months to see how the market goes for a high-end computer, then you can go ahead and take a look at the RTX 3080, RX 6800 XT and RTX 3090. Even those are too expensive and I would wait in your situation, but maybe you don't want to wait anymore. I completely understand. And at the end, like I always say on my videos, it's about having fun with your PC. So trust me, if you buy a 3080, a 3080 Ti, any GPU that is high-end right now, you won't regret it because it will have a great performance. However, you can wait a couple months to see if prices drop and actually get it for a cheaper price, or get a next-gen GPU which is going to perform much better. But that is completely up to you. That's why I didn't put them on this video, mainly because I do recommend you waiting on those budgets. But if you have a mid-range budget or a tight one, I do recommend you going for these GPUs. You won't regret buying any of these on your situation. Remember that you will have all of these GPUs down below in the description, and if you need a Prebuilt gaming PC because maybe you don't want to build it by yourself, you find it too difficult, or you just don't have the time, whatever the reason may be, I have my playlist about Prebuilt PCs as well that you will find in the top right of the screen with the PC builds one. If you found this video helpful, leave a like and subscribe, but most importantly hit that bell button so you get notified when I upload these videos. And I also upload posts on YouTube about the new deals from GPUs, Prebuilt PCs, so if you're interested on that, make sure to click the bell button. Thank you guys for watching, thank you for the support, and I will see you on the next one.